Hey guys, happy new year to you all. Hope you had a fantastic Christmas and I hope the year started very well for you so far. Now, if you were not lucky enough to pass your driving test last year, don't worry, don't lose hope. It is possible, and I hope and pray that this year is going to be your year. So remember, don't lose hope, just keep trying. It's going to be okay. And of course, with experience, I know that you actually do need luck to pass driving tests from the things that I've seen. So I pray that, God is going to give you that luck, that miracle that you need to pass this year. So let's get to this new driving test video. This was done today, the 26th of January 2023. So this is the first test for the year, the first lesson, the first week, the first everything. And luckily it was a pass with flying colors, zero minor faults, with so many challenges as come with this test previously. But yeah, let's leave that on the side. So let's get to the test. So this was at Bishop Stortford Driving Test Center, and let's see what we could pick from the video. So the test was at 8:10 in the morning, so 10 past 8 a.m. And it was a pass with zero faults. So we're just going to pick out some of the things that has been done very well, if we can pick them out, and maybe anything that we could maybe learn from to change if needed in your situation. So don't forget, nothing is perfect, so that's why we're doing this. So, but yeah, there won't be much to pick out on this, considering it's a zero minor, so well, zero fault. So yep, this is it. Now, if the traffic light changes to red while you're at the position we are right now, you should be going through that light still, because if you stay there and wait there, you're going to be preventing bigger vehicles from turning when they're turning into the road. So keep that in mind. You have already passed the first set of light, so if that changes, then you should be going through. Now actually, there should be a filtered green light there. I don't know what happened there, why that light didn't come on. So basically, if that was working, it would actually be a green arrow, because that's a filtered traffic light. But if the right green arrow doesn't come on, then and you're stuck at that position, remember you should be going through, unless of course if it is not safe to proceed. So at this point, she's been asked to pull up on the left. Now, keep in mind that this road is a very narrow road. So you want to close up as much as possible and as safe as possible to the curb, because otherwise you'll be blocking the main road and blocking vehicles from passing. So I'm assuming this is one of the reasons why they often do ask learners to pull up on the left hand side of the road on such roads. So you don't want to pull up on the left so wide. So if you're pulling up on the left is always very wide, then you need to practice better to do this better. You don't want to be sitting almost closing to the center line. So if you rewind it, you'd notice how close and nicely she's actually done that. So that was a very good positioning on that pulling up exercise there. Now, the planning for the meeting traffic situation ahead with the coach was really good. So she identified the space on the left ahead of her well, and she's moved into it very nicely and comes back out immediately to continue. That was a very, very good job. Again, dealing with the meeting traffic situation as she joins this new road here was really good. So right from the junction, she's looked into the road and identified the situation ahead, which is why she's decided to pull up here and wait for the white van. This is because the front end of the car is going to need more room from the right-hand lane in order to avoid hitting the parked vehicles here. And if you consider the distance the minivan was to the distance the car is, it wasn't going to be enough time to be able to do that without forcing the white minivan to stop. So that was a very, very good planning there and a good consideration there. So keep these things in mind. And also remember that when you're passing meeting situations like this with a very narrow space or narrow road to deal with, keep your speed to the minimum. And if you have to stop to allow oncoming vehicles to pass, then consider doing that, or match your speed with the situation you're dealing with. Now remember to give way to pedestrians crossing or waiting to cross at junctions if it is safe to do so. So keep this in mind because she could have planned better for these pedestrians, but luckily no fault was given. So on this road was where the learner was marked unfairly in a previous test, and I'll put a link below to that particular test. So if you're interested to see what the fault was and my opinion about that, then click that video on the link below and see why she was failed on this road. Now, although I would have waited for the truck approaching at this point to let that truck enough space to get through, but she has chosen to go through slowly and she dealt with it quite well. So, positioning to the curb was as close as possible, and she waited when she needed to without really, making a big deal out of it. Also, one person would have had to climb the curb eventually. And I love the fact that she did exactly what I would normally say, leave it to the experienced one to climb the curb. And that's what happened. So the truck went slightly over the curb in order to be able to pass in that situation. Unless if it was another situation where the learner had to climb the curb, there'll be situations where the examiner might actually tell you that you would have to go over the curb, or they would advise you to go over the curb. But again, with experience, you'll be able to deal with these situations. But remember, going over the curb should only be if it is really necessary and if it is safe to do so. But it is not uncommon on this road because of the size. Sometimes you would actually have parked vehicles parked at that point where she almost stopped earlier on, so where you see the marked parking bay. So, and that sometimes would force you to actually climb the curb. So keep this in mind. If there's a parked truck offloading or unloading at that point, eventually you would have to make that call and climb the curb to go through. I mean, it's going to have to be a common sense thing. Otherwise, you'll be finishing your test there. So another good effort with dealing with the meeting traffic in this situation. But unfortunately, the approach speed of this other learner approaching wasn't so good in dealing with the situation. And that actually was also on a test because they all left together. So it seems like they are doing the opposite direction as it looks. So here is going to be the maneuver exercise, which means luckily for this test, there is not going to be parking. Now, bear in mind though, be careful what you wish for. It is not that simple to do this exercise in such a busy road. So you have to keep that in mind. Don't be reversing when there are cars close to you, behind, or in front of you. Give them time, let them pass through, and then continue once they pass. If you don't do your timing right, you'll probably be here forever in a very busy road like this, and then examiner at some point would probably just tell you to just abandon the exercise and move on. So yep, keep it in mind. So as you can see, vehicles are approaching. Once they're far away, you can still be crawling, get some distance covered, and as they get reasonably close to you, hold back, wait, let them pass, and then you can continue afterwards. Now keep in mind as well, if you've got pedestrians on the curb walking past you, same rules applies. If they're close to you, wait, let them pass. Once they start walking away from you, then it's fine. If they're behind you, if they're far away from you, then yeah, you can carry on. But once they close and reasonable once they at a reasonable distance away from you, to you, then yeah, wait, let them pass through. Again, be very careful when you're pulling up on the left. If I was doing this, I would have moved forward a little bit more just to move away from that junction on the right hand side. Keep this in mind. Now, this is where luck comes in, like I always say. One examiner at this point, as you can see in this case, is not an issue, whereby another examiner would give you a serious hold for this thing. So this is where God's grace comes in and luck. And in some cases, you need a miracle. So keep this in mind. Be open-minded, relax, so that you can see the food on your table. See the space and take it. Now, one thing you're going to find plenty of at Bishop Stortford's test routes are lots of narrow roads, meeting traffics, and plenty full of roundabouts. So if roundabouts is not one of your strengths and you want to go to Bishop Stortford, then you better start practicing, or you might as well change your mind. Now, it is not to say you're definitely going to be in these situations, but it is very possible because they are all dotted around. Now, the worst part of it that you don't want to find yourself going through are those country roads. Damn, they are nerve-wracking. And if you're not confident with your space management, with your dealing with, your positioning on the road, I don't know how you're going to deal with it, because it is not that simple. Trust me, you've got to go and try for yourself to see what I mean. Even for an experienced driver, they're not the easiest road to drive on, and they're definitely not the safest roads to drive on, especially with the speeds changing back and forth, with national speed limits where it doesn't make sense, and 30 miles an hour where it definitely, again, doesn't make sense. So you want to actually make sure you get yourself to Bishop Stortford. Try one of those roads, or those routes with those very narrow spaces and the national speed limit, and test yourself to see how prepared you are to deal with them. So keep this in mind. Bishop Stortford, I must say, is one of the toughest that I've been through so far, and I mean it. So, as you can see, she's doing a great job with the roundabouts, and of course, keeping up with traffic and, the speed and all of that. So, it's a very good job. Damn, see how my girl is driving. Man, she's driving like a professional. I mean, come on, you just need to be in the car and let her drive you to see what I mean. This is it. I mean, the examiner turned around and said, "Well done. That was a good drive." And I wasn't surprised. Yeah, I wasn't. So, yeah, well done, girl. Good job. Guys, so this is actually now getting close to the end of the test, and I'm sure you would have seen yourself that this is a very good drive. And at the end of the test, the examiner was quite, impressed with the driving, and he turned around as he left and said, "Well done, very good drive," And I will tell you one thing, in every test that we have taken and there has been a zero fault, it has always been the same expression from the examiners, regardless where in the country it is, whether in London or outside down north or up north, it's always been the same. That's just to say, yes, it was a good drive. So remember, one thing you have to learn from this is not to give up. Never give up. We had to battle with two previous tests that didn't work out so well. Now, first one should have been a pass, but we had a serious fault. We were given a serious fault for positioning on the road. I couldn't figure up till this day. I still feel like that's the fail of the millennium. Like, yeah, but I'll leave it there. And then the second one, of course, the nerves from the first one kicked in, and then one mistake, in 2 minutes. And then another serious fault that again was again unfair. I'm going to put these up as my two most ridiculous serious faults ever. To make it short. But this just proves that there's always going to be that one different person or different situation, which is where God's grace comes in and good luck comes in, and that's what we hope for. But the problem is, if your chances in a test center is 2 out of 10, unfortunately it starts to make you feel shaky about, do I want to go to that test center or not? And this is why people rely so much on test center pass rates. It shouldn't have to be like that, but unfortunately, that's the way it is. So eventually, because you don't know when the opportunity is going to come, when are you going to have that, fair examiner to, take you on your test. You don't know who you're going to get. You don't know how they're going to mark you. There are rules, but rules are subjective. So this is the problem. But anyway, we're happy in the end. This should have been my last attempt at this test center. That's a secret. Don't tell anyone. But yeah, now even after this pass, I'm still not so sure if I want to. I don't know how to say. If I really want to go off into this particular test center based on the previous results, not the ones that I can agree on that, yeah, it was a serious fault. Like in the second one, the first serious fault was fine. But the first test, no, I disagree. Second serious fault in the second test, again, I disagree. And that it take a lot more of past situations or past experiences at this place for me to kind of and bear in mind this was two different examiners, so it's not like one person bouncing on you. But anyways, enough of that, and let's finish this and wrap it up. So this is the end of the test, and I hope you learned one or two things from this test, and I again wish you best of luck. Remember, if you're watching this, that's probably either because you love to support the channel, or mainly because you are yet to pass your test. And if that is you, I'm wishing you best of luck, that this year is going to be your year of grace, your year of success, a year of achievement. So remember, don't give up though. That's the big part of it. If you give up, then you have failed. But if you failed the test, you haven't failed yet, because you can do it again. And this is just where it is. And eventually, when you pass it, and it would mean even a lot more to you. So have a very wonderful time. Have a blessed year ahead of you. And remember, stay safe on the road. So don't forget, guys, please, 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 please click the like button, share the videos, let others see the videos and they can learn from it. And remember, if you've got any questions whatsoever, leave them down below in the comment. So again, I remain humble, and I will see you in the next video. Take care. and stay blessed.